Page 52. The first exercise is 1.15, deals with the C major scale. The second exercise, 1.16, deals with triads. I'm going to just cover them both in this video. Starting with the C major scale, it talks about a little bit on the previous page. Basically, we start with C major because there are no sharps or flats in C major. So on a piano keyboard, it's all the white keys. And basically, you just start with a C. You go up or down to another C. It's just all the white keys. Now, there's certain patterns involved and a lot of theory behind this. I don't get it. What I want to talk about are the fingerings. Now, they're showing two ways of doing this in both hands. You can do it in opposite direction, or known as contrary motion, where you're going opposite. And this is nice in C major because the hands want to mirror each other anyway, and you do that when you do this. It's easier to play it in contrary than it is in the same direction, believe it or not. So let's just talk about the right hand. You're starting on a C. Watch their fingering. Because now you have to pass the thumb under the third finger to get the F. And this fingering, this is where that trill exercise, hopefully you've been doing that. Do that on this one. Because you're using the fingering for the C major scale, you're just trilling these. This drills it into the brain and the muscle memory of what this feels like. Etc. On the other hand too. So do that trill exercise. It's really important. Now once you get the fingering, just know that in C major scale the thumb is playing the C and the F. Regardless of how many octaves you go, and we're just doing one octave right now, so the thumb is here and here. Now for the left hand, the C to C, the thumb is playing the C, then you cross under it and play the G. Over, and that's fingering for the left hand. Do them together. It's a mirror image. It's going in the same direction. It gets tricky. Because now you're not a mirror image anymore. You have to think about it. Here and here, we're going up. And then thumb on the right hand, cross over in the left hand here. If it helps to think about it, the middle fingers are playing at the same time. So that's a way of checking. Middle finger is the way of doing it. The trill exercise again will help you. You can do it both hands at the same time. Etc. Up and down, just one octave is fine. And I encourage you now to go do my scale video on C major. Do the beginner part. It's just one octave and it's up and down, and I discuss it a lot more detail there. So please do that. It will help you. These scales will help you. They will help you understand the music, and they'll help you play the music. They'll help get the fingers. So I don't use finger exercises per se. That trill exercise is about it. Because all the exercises I had to do in college were with the scales and arpeggios. That's all I ever used. And that's so handy because you got to know those anyway. So why not just use those for the scale exercises? Well, if you get a Hannon book or a Cherny book, they're filled with exercises and they're a lot of fun to play. I recommend them. But as far as, oh, I got to have that to learn piano, no. Scales and arpeggios, as far as I'm concerned, are good enough. And that's exercise 1.5. I'm not going to play it with you. You can play it yourself. It's just take it really, really slow. Notice there's no time signature. I don't know why they used eighth notes. They could have used quarter notes. It doesn't matter. You take it real slow with a metronome and you play it with the metronome. Speed is a killer. Don't try and think, I'm going to learn to do this fast. Forget it. Stay slow right now. It's important. Smooth and even and under control. So let's go ahead and talk about exercise 1.16 here on the triads. I already talked about chords, my opinion of chords and all that, the definition. Well, a triad is a 3-note chord. Tri meaning 3. Any 3-note chord. Now, there's certain positions for triads. And what we call a root position is the base position. That's the starting point. It's where it comes. And that's where the notes are every other note. So when you look at the keyboard and you just see it's every other note, that's root position of whatever the chord is. And it's 3 notes, that's a triad. All of these are triads. Black note's going to get involved too, but I'm keeping it simple, so we're just doing the white keys for now. Now I can take that triad and I can rearrange the notes, because what we're after here is a C, E, and G for this chord. I can put the C on top here. Well, this is still a triad, it's 3 notes. But it's not in root position anymore because it's not every other note. Because there's 2 notes. So if you see something like this and you want to try and figure out what chord it is, you got to put it in root position, rearrange it. So you got to figure out, how do I get it in root position? And a simple way of doing it is simply keep turning it over until you get there. You get there eventually. So if I put the E on top here, that's not root position yet because I still got these 2 notes. So I'm going to turn it over again and put the G on top. Now I'm in root position, every other note. And then once I've done that, the bottom note identifies the chord. It's a C chord. Now in music, many times, the author or editor, whoever it is, will actually give you the name of the chord above the staff. And it's handy if you have guitar players around or other instruments, because they can improvise. They'll read the chord names and improvise, and you can play together, a duet. They've done that here on these chords. The first one is a C chord. We've already talked about that. The next one, if you look at that, it's up here. Well, it's in root position again. It's a G chord. And the music, it's easy to tell if it is, because it'll be a line, all the lines, 3 lines in a row, or 3 spaces in a row, that way. And when it's that, you get 3 notes and they're all on spaces, or 3 notes and they're all on lines like this, it's root position. The bottom note tells you what the chord is. So G chord is the G's bottom, and the F chord is here, F is up, back to the C. So how do you play these? Well, there's different fingerings for these, but for right now, we're going to use the 1, 3, and 5. So you're going to just use 1, 3, and 5. You put your hand in that position, you drop the whole hand down. Try and get all the notes down at the same time. It's hard to do. And G, F. Now when I'm moving around like this, I just leave my hand in this position and I just aim the thumb. So if I can get the thumb in the right place and my hand is in this position, the other notes got to be correct too. So I'm aiming the C, then I come up here and aim the G, but I keep my hand in this position, and then the F here, so I don't have to think about all 3 notes. Yeah. And that's the way, and the other hand works the same way. That down here, so I can just concentrate on the thumb. Now if it's easier for you to concentrate on the bottom note, then concentrate on the little finger. It doesn't matter. Aim the little finger. And the other fingers will go along. Now a danger you have to look for is tenseness. You get tense. If you put your hand in this position and you try and keep it there, move it around, you get tense. And you got to fight that. Tense. You don't want tenseness. So what you can do is you can, each time you play a chord, relax the wrist just a little. Let them collapse just a little bit. because you can't be tense and clasp the wrist at the same time. Just take my word for it, it doesn't work. Clasp the wrist a little bit, you'll be fine. You can keep your hand in that position without getting tense, you don't have to. Anyway, you can read about what they're talking about, triads and all that junk. There's plenty of other videos on YouTube that teach theory and all that, so you can go look at those up too if you want. But this completes Unit 1.